continue playing with them.
It's messed
And
up.
then they'll bring it to you and be like, "Here, master, I've brought this gift for you." And you're like, I don't know. Dead mouse, thank you.
Right?
Cat psychology, you don't want to act like it's something terrible because then they're going to stop doing it.
It's true.
So you
I
you
want
have
them
to
to
be
kill them.
like, "Thank you for this glorious gift of a dead mouse.
It's true.
I am in your service, cat."
So we named our black cat Toothless, and it literally ended up after we named it that, within a couple weeks, it ended up one of its fangs got broken off. So now it has one fang,
Oh,
but she's the biggest savage of them all. I mean, she will climb our front tree just to take down a nest of baby birds. And I'm like, my wife is like, you have to stop her, stop her, stop her. She attacked a snake. I found a squirrel face, just the face, in the yard when I was mowing. I'm like, she's a different kind of scary. I'm like, yeah, just let me pet you, don't hate me, kill
yeah.
me in my sleep, kind of thing.
She's a serial killer.
Exact.
But you kind of want that's who you want guarding the house, you know?
I
You'd be
mean,
more afraid of a dog or a cat like that when you break into somebody's house. Not that I'm gonna break into someone's house.
right, yeah. I just kind of wish that she was as big as a dog, because then it would be on, right? Then it would
Mm.
be real. Although I
You
will
want
say,
one of those? Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, I will say that I have. So this is insane. We heard some scratching under our house, and then we heard the sound, and it was this weird screechy sound. And my wife was like, "I think that's a possum," and we looked it up. It's totally a possum. And it's under our house in our crawl space. He got in through our chimney chase. Awesome builders that are out there now literally left the chimney chase wide open, so you could just crawl in underneath everything. I'm surprised it took this long. Um, but it's gonna cost me 5 grand to get him out of there and replace all the bottom stuff, like, underneath, all the whatever it is, the visqueen stuff is all I can think of, because he's been in there long enough that he's, like, crapped and peed everywhere, and it's all messed up. So, I'm really stoked, and I'm kinda like, "Where were you on that one, Toothless?" You couldn't have just, like, been the guard there, you couldn't have scared him off or peed by the chimney chase. I don't know. He's a smart little bugger now, though, because the
Mhm.
guy set the trap to get him. It's been 4 days. Dude ate the food, still didn't get caught. Like, this guy. I'm just gonna go under there with my 9 and be like, "Bow, bow,"
Yeah.
and
I'm gonna go get him myself. I'm gonna get him myself. Well, I think that's a wonderful segue since we're talking about cats,
truth.
especially killer cats, into what we're getting into today.
Yeah, man.
So I am of the belief that it is a non-negotiable for us as men nowadays, especially nowadays, to make sure that we are physically healthy,
Mm,
that we're taking care of ourselves, that we're eating right, we're working out. Unless you have a physical labor job, then you need to be doing things to rehab your body,
mm.
and also to do the things that 10 years ago you'd look around and be like, wow, that's a luxury. Guys going to yoga and meditation and doing breath work and all that stuff. I think that this is non-negotiable nowadays. The level of technology, with the speed with which things happen in the world, the level of conflict and outrage that's around, I think it's a non-negotiable. And here's the fun part. I think it all has to do with cats.
Yeah.
And we're going to
Tell
talk
me
about that.
more about that.
Great segue.
Yeah, I love that. Love that. I'm kind of intrigued as to how that goes.
Oh man, you're in now. All right. All right. So what's going on? What's going on? I got to tell you about what's going on with our kids. Over the past few decades in the US, childhood obesity has doubled and then tripled in adolescence,
Mhm.
which is crazy. Childhood obesity has risen from 8% in 1990 to 20% in 2022. That's crazy.
Dude.
For the first time ever, there are more children that are obese than there are underweight globally. Yeah,
Dude.
it's crazy. The rates of childhood hypertension, high blood pressure, right? This is like an old man's disease,
Right.
has doubled over the last 2 decades. That's crazy.
Mm.
in 2023, our kids are 15 to 20% more likely than they were in 2011 to have some kind of chronic condition, whether that's diabetes, high blood pressure, or some kind of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, blood sugar issues, all that stuff. Childhood obesity has increased 8-fold since 1975. It's crazy.
That's insane. Those are insane numbers. Those are insane numbers. Like the 2011 to 2025 or 23, like a 12-year span. That's insane. I guess I keep thinking like when I hear that, I'm like, no, it's like the hockey stick of anything. Well, I think about the slight edge where he's like, you're going to go along and it's just going to be a small deviation over time. But then if you're doing the right things, it's going to hockey stick up and you're just going to catapult. But if you're doing the wrong thing, it's going to hockey stick down and you're going to catapult the wrong direction. And I feel like that 11 or 12 years there that you're talking about, uh, that is what that is. It's like this it's just been like this underlying thing. We're making wrong decisions for our children over and over and over again as it goes, generation upon generation, and it's compounding. It's not like every generation gets to like reset. You're not resetting, in my opinion. And so our children are taking the major brunt of stuff our their grandparents did, and then we did, and now we're doing basically to them. And dude, that little 12 year jump is terrifying.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh.
Sedentary behavior, sedentary lifestyle, screen time, eating crappy food. We live in this hyper palatable, hyper satiating food environment where you look at any commercial. What was it? There's a McDonald's commercial that came on the other day because we were watching Chosen and there's ads on the Chosen. And I was like, wow, I haven't watched a commercial in like 20 years. Let's go. And they like advertise the food like it's porn.
Yeah.
It's like this decadent thing that you want to make love to. That's part of the issue. Limited physical activity. I don't know if gym class is even required in schools anymore. And then we've got that's just physical stuff. We've got mental and emotional stuff. You look at the incidences of major depressive episodes, and our boys and girls manifest that stuff differently. They manifest mental health disorders differently. Boys are very external. It's very like violence, alcoholism, drugs, any high intensity activities or high adrenaline activities. Whereas our girls, they're very inner. It's
Mhm.
very much self-harm. But the incidence of major depressive episodes has gone from 12%, 2005 to 2010, to 20% in 2013. That's crazy, but that's not even it. Because 2022 and 2023, some of the more recent data, 30% incidence, major
Mm.
depressive episode in the last year.
Man.
Our boys have gone from 4 to 5% that have had a major depressive episode in the last year, 7% in 2013. Why is that important? That's the smartphone.
Yeah. Yeah.
To 12% in 2022.
Yo.
And that's TikTok.
Yeah. Dude, that's here's what I can say. I have spent so I was in the Christmas light. I'm in the Christmas light industry, so I like have a season, and then I get like 3 weeks off, and then we go back in after Christmas and we start taking down, right? So we're taking down right now, but in that time frame, there's not a lot to do, and so but we were making Christmas cookies and we're doing stuff, but you find yourself sitting around a little bit more. But it's the Christmas season. I kind of just am like, all right, this is what we do. It's cool. We'll make Christmas cookies. We'll do that. So we eat those. I overdo that, and then I find myself on like I have nothing to do in the morning, so I just kind of like chill and scroll. And dude, I'm gonna tell you right now, I've started to notice. I noticed it, and then I was like, I should do this for like a week and just do what I think sedentary, normal people do and see how I feel. But I don't think I could pull it off. I think I would go crazy because just noticing it over a little bit of time of doing it slightly, I've felt like less than. I've felt, oh, I don't measure up to anybody. I don't. I don't feel good about any of this stuff. And so now I'm sitting here going, this is what normal people do. No wonder they feel like crap. You eat like crap, and so you feel like crap. And then you're watching other people. And I don't know about like your feed. My feed will have a lot of fitness stuff on it. So there's these jack dudes, like abs for days. And it's like, of course they're 22. And I'm like, well, at 45, you got a little bit more work, whatever it is. But it's like, of course they're like, I'm gonna feel like I'm less than. But what I noticed is found myself wanting to like, I found myself wanting to do the things it would take to be like, "Oh, I need to get back into that." But then being totally not motivated whatsoever to even consider. I work out in my own garage. It's like right here. Still not wanting to do that. Just being like, "Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work." So I
Mhm.
can't imagine doing that and then knowing kids are kind of captive. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like my sons could be like now my kids could go into the gym and start working out if they wanted to, but it's really not like they can do that. It's like it's not like, "Hey, dad, I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm 7." It's they're captive by what their parents do, and we're just dumping crap into them, like, food-wise, and then we're dumping our own psychological crap on them, and then we're allowing them to get their own psychological crap by tossing a screen at them and letting them sit there isolated. Because
Mhm.
regardless, I mean, if you look at kids in like, they're all in the same room, and if they're all on a phone, they're really all isolated, looking at their own thing, doing their you're not even having the shared experience of, like, watching a movie together in your living room. And all this is experiential where I'm sitting there going, "Oh my god, we have to stop." Like, it has to stop. And it's a short window of time, and then we go back into our normal life, and we really just kinda, like we kinda let off the we, like, I guess, hit the brakes and just let it be what it is. But, dude, I feel like crap after doing that. It's like, I don't wanna do that ever. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like once a week that I'll be up, Jen will fall asleep on the couch, and I'll be like, "What's going on Instagram?" Like, let me just go and go on for fun because most of the time I'm on for business and I'm not
Right,
perfect. But
right.
I'll sit there for like 10, 20 minutes hoping for something entertaining. And yeah, it's fitness models for me, but it's usually Mike O'Hearn judging me. Um, and well, I got a good Mike O'Hearn one for later. Uh, but then I get to the end of that time, I'm like, I just wasted 20 fucking minutes that I could have been reading something to learn. I could have been reading the Bible. I could have been meditating. I could have been doing something else. And I feel terrible for having just lost that time.
Yeah.
Or I feel, what is it? I feel like I'm not enough. Like I'm not doing enough. Like,
Mhm.
oh, look at that guy working his job in Bali. He's got his family there. They're making bank, and they bought a little bit of land and put a shed on it and built it. Why the fuck am I not doing that? Comparing myself to people and then beating myself up when I have everything that I need here, but I'm too busy sucked into somebody else's life and comparing myself to them.
Yeah.
On that topic, this is 2022. Teens are spending 5 hours on social media a day. That's crazy.
Dude,
That's crazy to me. N-
well, add that too, they're probably sleeping what, 10?
Maybe
So now you have 9 hours of your day left to do other things. That's crazy.
5 hours on social media, 9 hours on their phone altogether.
Dude. Oh, that's vomitous. I will tell you, man, raising teenagers with so I have an ex-wife and I have teenagers with that ex-wife. Dude, if the houses are not the same and ours weren't, it is it is hell. It is hell because our house, you had 2 hours. They got 2 hours on their phone. And I will say, I wish I if I could go back, this is the one thing I would have dug in hard as all hell to stay on it. But we gave him 2 hours, and Zeke is our oldest, he's 21, and I pushed for a long time, and then finally I was like, "You know what? Fine. You can have it like you have it at your mom's." Worst decision I ever made because then my daughter, who followed right behind him, had full access. Came down one day, like, talking about TikTok, and then was like, "I feel really sad." I'm like, "Well, how long you been on your phone in your room just on scrolling?" And it was like hours of scrolling, comparing, and all the shit we're talking about, just, like, right there. And I'm like, "Well, of course you feel like crap." Yeah. It was It's crazy. And so anything I could tell to parents ever is whatever you do, even if you're in a co-parenting situation, like lock that shit down because
Mhm.
it affects them so much. I can't even imagine. Like we have no idea how bad it's going to be for them in the future.
What did you do to help her with that?
I actually she's the kind of kid at the time, it's weird because she was on social media all the time, but she'd be the kid that was like, "Oh, well, we're doing this fast at church, so I'm just gonna fast social media and take 30 days." And then she'd do 30 days and like she'd go through like maybe a minor withdrawal, maybe, and then she'd just be like, and so when it came back at the end of the 30 days, she'd be like, "Oh, weird. I guess I have my phone back, but I don't know what to do." So I just suggested that. I was like, "Why don't you not do that? Why don't you need to find that you're not sitting in your room alone with the door shut, just scrolling on the phone. Like, we're all down here." And granted, she's a lot older. Like, she's, what, 9 years older than the closest sibling to her, and it's a boy. And so, like, her and Finn have that distance. But, I mean, Luna Gray, she's way older than Luna Gray, but at the same time, Luna wants to be around her all the time. I'm like, "Just come be with us. Just don't just come down to eat dinner, come make dinner with us. Come play games." So she started doing that a lot more, and I think she did a lot better after that, but dude, I I can't stress it enough to not let your kids be on phones. I mean,
Mhm.
I've already told Finley is 10 and Wyatt is 9. I've already told them, I'm like, "Dude, you won't even have a cell phone when you drive. There will be a home phone that is a cell phone that when you go somewhere, you can take it with you, but it is not your phone. It will not have social media on it. It will just be so that you can call and tell me you got a flat tire. You will already know how to change that, so you really won't need me, but, like, we will not do phones, like, at all the way that they were done. And I mean, again, I went through divorce, and I didn't wanna go through their mom to talk to them, so we got them phones. She didn't wanna go through me either, totally get that. Like, just to be able to talk to your kids, that's important, but that really jacked everything up, and I won't do that for the youngers at all. They won't have one.
Yeah, I think flip phones are awesome. There's the light phone too. I have a light phone, but unfortunately the iPhones have digital SIM cards now, so I can't even swap the SIM card out and use the light phone. I was like,
Right?
I'm so upset about this.
Gotta
But
jump.
even with Theo and Tilly, and Theo's gonna be 5 in a week here, which I cannot believe that he's gonna be 5 already.
It's crazy.
And Tilly's almost 3. Even with our phones, I'm rarely on my phone unless it's working.
Mhm.
And I tell them this is a tool, not a toy. And me, I know, like I don't want brain cancer. I don't want to screw up my cellular methylation by having this thing on my body. You can go to, what is the name of this thing? I can't think of the name of this thing right now, but the guys that make this no, it's not biogeometry, but they've got all the brain imaging that just by holding your phone, it changes how your brain works. It
Dude.
cuts off blood flow to your brain and creates inflammation. And so it's very much, these are tools, Theo. This is not a toy. And I don't let them touch it or play with it. My son's fascinated by it. He always wants to like touch the screen. I'm
Mhm.
like, stop touching the screen. Stop touching it. But one, I don't want him to play with it because it's bad from physical standpoint. But two, uh, lots of bleeps and bloops, sounds, notifications, colors, movement, which stimulates your sympathetic nervous system.
Mhm.
It gets you to lean in and pay attention. And they don't have, and most 40-year-old men don't have, the capacity to regulate their impulses.
Yeah.
And so you create a little dopamine addict that's like, I need to keep doing this thing, not to mention all the other stuff with social media and all the mental and emotional challenges that come down the line. So
Yeah.
I want to get him a flip phone when he gets a little bit older because I want to send him down the block and be like, go play, man.
Yeah,
You're
sure.
fine. You know the neighborhood better than I do. You know how to get to stuff. You're 5 years old. You know what to
Right.
do. Hit me up if you need me, like the old Nokia chirp. Like that's the kind of thing that I want for him. And then maybe when he's like 16, 17, 18, then we can play with smartphones and introduce some responsibility there
Right.
with boundaries because he's going to have to exist in that world
Mhm.
just like maybe we're going to introduce them to alcohol before they're 18. I want them to be able to do it in a reasonable way, right? So that they know and they're like, well, this isn't really a big deal while their friends are immersed in it.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, like, so the boys have iPads for school, and our school, like, we do like a farm school semi co-op thing, and they have them for that. And there's been a leadership change recently, and that leadership was really big on having the technology to a level. I get it. I mean, I work from my phone. Everything I do, I can do right off of my phone, and so it makes total sense. And I'm the same way as you. I'm like, I'm not playing on this. Like, this is not a toy to me. This is a tool for work. This is how I make money. This is how I do things and communicate with clients. So there's that. So I like that aspect of it. But at the same time, I'm like, dude, this is. I mean, even Steve Jobs said he wouldn't give his kids an iPad or an iPhone. You know what I mean? It's like if the creator of it is saying, "I'm not going to do this," that should tell us something. Um, so the new leadership is literally coming through to say something to the effect of, we're gonna dial back the the iPad usage. That said, they like when it goes off, they have a friend who will call them so that they can play Minecraft together. And I do like that aspect. Like, that's the stuff we didn't have when we were kids, right? We didn't have the oversight of parents knowing where we were or what we were doing, but we also didn't have the ability to play with our friends when we couldn't be in the same place. So I do like that aspect. They actually play with their older brother. Their older brother was into Minecraft back in the day, and so they'll do Minecraft stuff. So I like that, but I noticed that they come off of those and they're a lot more aggressive with each other to a level where it's like, all right, those are all right, you're done with that too. But when their friend calls, they cannot pay attention to anything else. They're like, I have to answer the phone. I have to answer it. I was like, no, you don't. And they're like, yeah, but if he'll think I'm being mean. I'm like, no, he'll just move on with his day. And when you call him back, if you can catch him, cool. If you can't, cool. This is not a you're being mean thing. This is a I can't play right now. I can't even have it right now. It's just I think that whole notification of, oh, I gotta check it. Oh, I gotta do that. It jacks up, even like you said, 40-year-olds. It jacks up our brains. We feel like we have to, if it vibrates in my pocket, oh, I gotta check it. Well, I don't want to be controlled by alcohol. Why in the world would I want to be controlled by technology? It's no different. I mean, both are jacking with my brain. So I better figure out how to keep that from messing with me. Yeah.
Yeah, we have an old N64. We
Yeah.
have an old Super Nintendo system up in the attic, and I think it was 2 years ago. We got it out, and we're like, I wonder if we can hook this up to the big TV that we got. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
Let's play GoldenEye 007. Man, I loved GoldenEye, and I played for like 20 minutes. And it was about like the 10-minute mark that I noticed what you were talking about. I was getting like short, irritable, like nobody could talk to me. I was like hyper focused. And then
Mhm.
even after I paused the game, I was like, I don't like how I feel right now.
Yeah.
Like I really want to beat this level, but I don't like how I feel right now. And I was
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna turn it off. It took me a while to like get back to myself because I would say it wasn't like hyper vigilant, but I was just on edge
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
everything and everybody. And
Yeah.
I know how to regulate myself, but I was still struggling with it. I can't imagine our boys, because they're the ones that are really playing these video games, without these skills being immersed in that.
Right. Dude. Yeah. And you know what's funny to me is the other day, and Zeke has a friend in Atlanta or somewhere in Georgia, and like go to college. And so the only way they get to hang out is over that and stuff. And so they were playing something, and he's loud as all heck. I'm like, dude, the babies are down. Why are you so loud? And Meg was like, what is the deal? And I was like, this is the way they all are because they get immersed. They're not, I was like, they're not here. He's not here. He's on a ship out in the ocean with his friend, and they're fighting pirates or whatever it is. These guys are falling off cliffs in Minecraft. They're not sitting on the bed. They are immersed in that world. And I think VR is going to is taking it to a whole other level because you're actually immersed in it completely. That's terrifying to me. Like, you can't even focus. You can't even tell that this is just a game. Like, you're in the game. It's not a game. It's real life. That's where you're living at the moment. And I think specifically for boys, they're diving into those games and I'm sure this is not totally off topic, but like this is a whole other rabbit hole you go down. They are they are not only immersed in that, but they're finding themselves going to that and getting the hit of I win here, and then they're not winning outside. And that's the last thing I want for my boys is for them to, oh, I'm a great guy on Minecraft or whatever these other games are, and I'm like I understand that that's a way to connect with your kids. I hate video games, so I don't even touch them. I'm like, yeah, that's not me, so I kinda hold off. But it's like you're winning in something that I could just power off, and now you're not winning. All of a sudden, now you're not winning, and I think guys are driving themselves more and more as they into these games that become more and more real. Like, they'd rather be in the game because they can be a superhero in the game, and they're a total dud outside the game. And it goes back to what you were talking about in the sense of it's it is a it is an absolute must that we are optimal and like high level with breath work and fitness and all that in this world. And I mean, I'm sure that people will be out there, well, this is a simulation too. Like our buddy Jack Nofel, I'm
Maybe,
sure would talk
maybe
about
it
that.
is.
Maybe, but here's what I can tell you. You have to function in this simulation if it is one. You don't have to function in that one, and you know what I mean? It's crazy.
I love that, and I've come to through my yogic path and looking at like the Buddhist wisdom as well, is I think it's both. Didn't mean to
Mhm.
blow into my mic there. I do think it's both. I think that we're in a simulation because we're what is the word I'm looking for? We're beholden to our impulses
Mhm.
until we do the work to gain that metacognition and start seeing what we are doing and to regulate our nervous system and get out of that impulsiveness and like come back.
Yeah.
And then well, we can watch everyone else in the simulation, but we've broken out of it.
Sure. Yeah, no, I
I
get
think it's both.
yeah. I can see that. I can definitely see that. I gotta say hey to what's up to Rad Dad Revival. I saw he hopped on. He's like,
Yeah,
"What up, my dudes?"
I saw him. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Yeah, no, I saw somebody say something about how they go over to their cousin's house, Poltergeist. They can't even go to their cousin's house to watch a movie because everyone's had their head tilted down 90 degrees and staring at their phone. Dude, it drives me crazy. That stuff, it drives me insane. And I will put my phone up and I don't know, I think we've talked about this before, but I'm not a football fan. My wife is the football fan in the house, right? So if we're watching, it's because she wants to. But I find myself not even knowing what to do with myself at that point. I'm like, I can hang out with the family in here and sit and watch. And the thing I can't stand is that it's like Sunday could be all day football. And I'm like, can we just watch one and call it a day? You know? But it's one of those things where it's like I have a hard time with that, but at least everybody's in there watching the same thing, you know? Or, and but you'll walk in and see somebody on like my daughter will be on her phone, my older daughter, and my son will be on his phone, my older son. And I'm like, "What are we doing? Are we all together? Or are we all separated in this same room? We're not even." Yeah, so I get it. That Poltergeist 213, I saw that. I totally feel that.
It's the opportunity cost of all this. Like we can spend 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours on social media completely cut off from everyone else in the world in this digital world that doesn't actually exist.
Yeah.
And then we're missing out on 5 to 9 hours of real life experience that we could be gathering.
Mhm.
And instead, we're in this little digital world. Well, because it feels good to be there.
Yeah.
That's devoid of the actual physicality that's required to go run and jump around on a battleship or
Yeah.
whatever it is, or to fuck real women on Pornhub.
Right?
And you're not actually getting the real physiological release. You're not getting the things that are going to be able to bring your nervous system, your blood pressure down, all of that, nor building the relationships.
Yeah. My wife put it this way the other day, and I was like, "Oh, it's so good." She said, "I feel," and she's been talking about, she's like, "I need to get my phone, like, I need to get rid of my phone more often." She's like, "I'm completely connected, and I have no connection." And I was like, "Oh, it's so good." Like, she's so right. I'm so connected to everything. You could have and it's, like, crazy. If you ever like, I know this is gonna sound gross, but if you ever go to the bathroom without your phone, that's when you think of all these things that you're like, "Oh, I wanna know that," and you're like, "Shoot, I didn't bring my phone in here to look it up." You're like, "I wonder what the temperature is like over in," and you like, it's the stupidest stuff you think of, and then you just grab your phone and you look. And I think that that's the problem is that we have unlimited access to information, And so I could just learn whatever I want. But most of the stuff I'm going to learn with whether it's social media or TikTok, or even if you're just Googling stuff, most of it is absolutely worthless. That just like you had this one-off thought. And so like if you're sitting there and people are watching TV and you're all in there and then you're like, oh, I had that thought. And then you pick up your phone and now you're there. But because we're so distracted, instead of actually Googling what you were going to Google, you see that you got an Instagram notification. So you open that and now you're scrolling reels and people are enjoying. And the next thing you know, an entire quarter of the game that you probably weren't interested into anyways is already over. You just totally lost 40 minutes of your life because you had a Google thought and you never even made it to Google. It's like,
Mm.
it's so insane how much of a grip it has on us. And when she said that the other day about, she's like, I'm completely connected and I have no connection. I was like, oh, that's a t-shirt. That is a mantra. That is everything. I want to be connect. I want to have connection. I don't need to be connected. I love it. I feel like just, like just totally locking into the matrix in the back of your brain.
Yeah, connection is here. I
Mhm.
think about this with even like Chat GPT. You can go and you can look up all this stuff and you can read it, but then you walk away and 5 minutes later it's gone.
Gone.
It's not in
Mhm.
here anymore.
Yeah.
It's like we all have Google Maps now. And when I was learning how to drive, like I had to go on MapQuest and I had to write out my
Dude.
directions.
Yeah.
And then I would try and memorize it and I could go. I don't know my way around Lake Zurich, Illinois very well. I've lived here for at least 5 years. I still know Batavia where I grew up like the back of my hand. I could go there tomorrow, know which direction I'm going, what street leads to where. Here's the back streets. I don't really know the names of the streets here, nor like how to get somewhere if I just wanted to try a different route. I don't know how to do that. And I
Yeah.
think the same thing goes with going down the Google hole. The same thing goes with Chat GPT. We can look up and have quote unquote all this information, but we never really have it because it doesn't get in here because there's no physicality. And
Yeah.
I worry about this with as Chat GPT grows. And I have some like high-end clients that are like, we use this. We've sped
Yeah.
up the rate at which I'm able to grow the business so much. I'm like, yeah, that's great. I wonder if there's going to be a cost to that.
Yeah.
You were talking about the schools and the iPads,
Mhm.
and I had somebody come through Jedi Father training 6 months ago, and he was talking about he's on the school board, and they were talking about very real Neuralink is coming.
Mhm.
What are we going to do? When
Yeah.
it comes, are we gonna support Neuralink for our kids? Where they're gonna have this chip installed into their brain? So it's like, okay, I need a sixth grade. Well, this isn't gonna be sixth grade. I need sophomore year trigonometry in my head, right?
Yeah.
It's just there.
Dude.
And they made the decision. No, we don't want to bring Neuralink into our kids because, well, very soon the first, second, third graders are gonna have access to this. We
Mhm.
don't want that.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, well, what is the cost? You're gonna be like Neo and just be like, I need to learn kung fu.
I know
Cool.
kung fu.
But I wonder if it's even going to work because I wonder if it's gonna be just like going on ChatGPT. You look something up, you walk away, you've forgotten it 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
Unless you're directly plugged into this, I want to use this skill right now. Is it just gonna be gone? Because you haven't done the physical things to actually change the neurology and
Yeah.
actually ingrain these patterns. You haven't done the 1, 2, 300,000 repetitions to install the motor Ingram. I'm not convinced that it's gonna work.
That's
But
interesting.
they're
Yeah.
all gonna be faced with the opportunity to use this, and if they do, are they gonna get addicted to it and feel like they need to?
Right. Yeah.
And how do we
And
help them?
I think too, the thing I keep thinking about with that is like you said, like the mind muscle, the muscle memory, right? Like that's what you're talking about. I totally get that. And there's a part of me that's like, huh, well, if you could have knowledge, knowledge isn't power. The use and the wisdom of how to use knowledge, in my opinion, is power. But that said, if there's and this, I guess this will give a little bit more understanding of how I feel about school. But like you don't need to memorize stupid crap for a test just for a test. Like, should we know history? Yes. I think honestly, like we should learn history. Obviously, you should know how to read, you should know history, you should know some math. Some of the stuff in schools, I'm just like, why are we even there? Like my daughter, when she graduated, like the last month of school, they took the seniors' computers back. There's like, yeah, we're gonna take the computer. I'm like, what are you doing? She's like, nothing. We're literally just going into classes. It's basically study hall all day. I'm like, why are you there? All you're doing is to learn how to waste time. So there's some of me that's like, oh, that's a great thing. Like Neuralink is kind of a cool, like I could download and be like, I know Kung Fu. That would be kick ass if it works that way, right? I would be like, yes. At the same time, the instant I hear it, the first thing I think of is how are they going to use that against us? We all get this stuff chip in our head, and then they can just be like, click, and it shuts you wholly. Like now it shuts you down, and you're a vegetable because they didn't like that your post on TikTok. Like that's where I go, and I mean that's really I go to the evil side of that instantly. I'm like, that's so cool that we could do that. How are they going to use that against us? And then, like the instant you said that, I'm like, wow, sweet. Wait a second. So now we've got a chip that somebody has access to that they could just like hack in, put stuff into your brain. I mean, I keep thinking, I mean, I'm going to sound crazy, but I'm like, okay, so you could you could literally hack into my brain and create a Manchurian candidate, have me go do something that I know, and then like delete all my understanding of what happened and like click away all the memory. But there I am on camera, like killing some political official or whatever it is that you've set me up to do. So now, okay, that's just terrifying. And let's be real, everything I just said is a totally baller movie that would be amazing, right? They like starts like that. All I know is I wake up not remembering stuff, just like Jason Bourne, and then finding out I killed some horrible, like whatever dictator or whatever. And then now it's me like trying to not get caught with like that's a movie. But when you're talking about that, I'm going, well, that's absolutely what could happen, and that terrifies me to death.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even have to go through all the physical work of brainwashing you and then
Right.
activating you with this particular song or whatever it is. They wouldn't have to do that anymore. They'd just be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that guy looks good. Let's just activate his chip.
Yeah,
Oh,
right.
you didn't pay your rent. You overdrew your bank account balance. Like we're gonna turn your Neuralink off.
Yeah, we just shut it off.
Oh,
Older guys
you're a
came in, he's like,
surgeon.
"No
Oh,
kung fu,
that's
but you get your ass kicked in real life." I'm like, "Yes, that's
yeah."
yeah, I know kung fu. I know how to do it in my brain, but my body won't follow. I don't understand what's happening." That's totally true. Oh my gosh.
All right.
You started off talking about cats. I know we got all the way
Let's come
over
back
here
to
to
cats. Let's
but
come back to cats. We have to talk about this because I think that this all relates to cats,
it
and
does.
I'm going to tell you why.
Yeah.
Pottinger's cats. Everybody that's here that wants to break some cycles, forge a new legacy for themselves and their family. You guys actually need to know the study. You should probably go out and buy the book. It's really small. You get through it in a day.
Yeah.
So he did these studies between the 1920s and the 1940s, and 10 plus year controlled experiment on cats. Why did he do this on cats? Well, his job was to test their thyroid and figure out how to improve thyroid function. But he was starting to notice that his cats were becoming less and less resilient. They weren't surviving. They weren't able to make it through the study. So he was like, "What's going on? I actually need to figure out what's going on with these cats before I can continue my actual work." And he had an inkling. He had the thought that, well, maybe it has something to do with the food. Maybe it has something to do with the food that they're doing. So he's like, cool, I'm going to set up a study and study how food, specifically processed food, affects these cats. And he broke them up into two, sometimes three groups. One of the cat groups had raw meat and raw milk. That's what they subsisted on. The other cat group had cooked meat and pasteurized milk. That means that you've boiled it until all the life force, all the good stuff in the milk is no longer available, and you're just drinking dead tissue, essentially. So now you know how I feel about pasteurized milk. Everything else was kept the same. They have these little like outdoor barn quarters that they lived in. And okay, what he found was the cats that ate regular foods, they had broad faces. And I see these pictures come up on Instagram all the time of like World War II era our dads, their masculine like facial structure. And
Mhm.
then the boys nowadays at the same age that have this really feminine facial structure. What he found is that the cats that ate unprocessed foods, they had broad faces, they had strong bones, they were calm, they had healthy pregnancies, they reproduced normally, But he also found that in the cats that were starting to eat the cooked and processed foods, their faces began to narrow, even in the generations of cats that were just beginning to eat that food. Their
Mm.
teeth began to become crooked. They began to have bone deformities. They described it as having sponge like bones, which cats are kind of made of air anyway, but they're not spongy. They started to have arthritis. They started to experience hormonal imbalances, which led to behavior problems. The cats became anxious. Their hair started falling out. The male cats that started eating this diet became highly aggressive and irritable, and the female cats. And then by the third generation, because he bred them and he kept feeding them this way, by the third generation, the female cats became infertile. The male cats became impotent. By the fourth generation, even with interventions, like they had to like force the pandas to procreate, back in the 90s, they had to force them to do that. By the fourth generation, the line would go extinct. They couldn't procreate anymore.
That's insane.
Degeneration in the cats, and we're just talking about cats right now. I'm not making any other claims. The degeneration, and I have narrow facial structure. I have deviated septum. These really interesting things. Degeneration isn't random, is what he found. These things are not random. It starts nutritionally and then compounds across generations.
Yeah.
It wasn't about calories. It was about the processing of the food destroying the life supporting factors in the food.
Yeah.
Nutrition didn't just alter the bodies, though. It rewired the behavior in the female and the male cats. It changed their tolerance to stress. They became less resilient to it. And it changed their sexual dynamics. So what happened? One, in terms of the nervous system, the cats that ate real food, raw, unprocessed diets, they were calm, they were curious, they were adaptable, they had a strong tolerance to stress, they had a normal sleep and wake rhythm. That's a good thing. They were playful. I love when animals play. It's one of the coolest things. I love when my kids play. And then they recovered quickly from being overstimulated or being in a threatening situation. Cats, sometimes they play too hard and they're like, and then it's like, oh, okay, we'll back off. We're buddies again. Their nervous systems could get activated and then they could come back to baseline. But the cats on cooked and pasteurized diets became hyper reactive to things that were happening around them. They were really easily started. You didn't really have to do much to be like, bah, and then they'd jump. They became chronically anxious, always worried. They would pace nonstop. Like I said, their hair would fall apart. They had trouble sleeping. They wouldn't sleep as restfully as they had before. And then they would oscillate back and forth between either being frantic, manic, and lethargic or depressive. They appeared neurotic, always worried, unpredictable in their behavior, and they were unmanageable. Like you couldn't really get them to do what you needed them to do. And what this was chronic sympathetic nervous system dominance, this chronic fight or flight in the nervous system from food. And then the second thing that they noticed was that the males on the processed diet got even more irritable and more aggressive. This sounds like a toxic masculinity thing. They had shorter fuses. They had poor impulse control. They had violent outbursts out of nowhere towards other cats. Not playful, but they'd have violent outbursts. And then they couldn't tolerate proximity to other male cats or hierarchy without starting to fight. Not playing, but actually starting to fight. They became over aggressive, and then others, and this is an interesting thing, they became more withdrawn and fearful and avoidant of other cats, especially other male cats. They either became tyrants or cowards. The females, they became nervous, erratic, highly defensive. They lost their maternal instincts, meaning that they abandoned their kittens. They didn't care for them anymore. Some of them started to eat their kittens, and then they had difficulty with nesting, like preparing for kittens and bonding with kittens and other male cats. They became unable to relax and unable to lean into reproduction and caregiving. Maybe you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah, that sounds very familiar.
This sounds
Sounds,
familiar.
sounds very
Mating behavior. Here's another really interesting thing. In healthy cats that ate raw, unprocessed food, they had normal courtship behavior. They would pair normally. There was a clear difference between the male and the female cats. They were successful in mating. They had strong libido. They would mate when they wanted to. The female cats had healthy pregnancies. They were attentive mothers. They took care of their kittens, and they had offspring that would live in this and that would survive. But processed food cats, the males had low libido. They lost interest in procreation. They lacked the ability to initiate. They failed in mounting. They also had a weak sperm quality, so they struggled to actually conceive. They had hormonal dysfunction that led to all of that. And then in second and third generation, their physiology started to look a lot more like the female cats. So it got to the point where they couldn't tell the difference between the male and the female cats anymore. And the female cats were reversed. They had irregular menstrual estrus cycles. They failed to conceive. They would miscarry. They'd have stillbirths, and then they'd become infertile. And by the third generation, they, even when they tried to, just like the pandas, they tried to force them to procreate, they couldn't do it.
dude.
And the female cats started to get highly aggressive and dominant, like the male cats were.
Yeah.
And the male cats became very docile,
Huh.
like the female cats had.
Interesting. Yeah. Huh.
Hmm.
Dude,
Hmm.
I always go back to The Way of the Superior Man. Like, I can't help but go back to that book because it's so good talking about polarity and that whole concept of like men being men, women being women, understanding there's equality in value, but not like, I don't want to say equity. I don't think that's the word I want, but not like equality in role. Like, it's not that one is over the other. It's just that I don't do these things and you don't do these things. Right. I don't have babies. It's so funny because my youngest will come up to me and be like, Daddy, nurse. And he does the little, and I'm like, yep, only thing I can't do for you. That's mom. And I'll take him to mom and be like, here, he wants to, I'm his person, but there's nothing for you here, bro. You know what I mean? It's like, and I feel like when you look out, just even all of the stuff you described, I'm like, even the aggressiveness of women, of the female cats, sorry, and the docileness of the male cats in the like courtship, if you will, or the mating rituals of them, like that sounds exactly like what we're looking at today. And
It's like the females started to inhabit the male roles, not even because of some outside thing of like patriarchy,
yeah,
but because physiologically that's what happened based on their nervous system stimulation and their hormone
yeah,
response to being fed non-ancestral low quality food.
dude. That is, I mean, that is mind blowing. Like when and obviously I'm sitting here thinking about men and women and going, that's mind blowing. Cause I find myself going, okay, if men would just step up and do what we're supposed to do, it gives women the ability to respond. And I don't mean all men stepping up for all women. What I mean by that is if I step up in the role that I'm supposed to live as the masculine side of my relationship with my wife, that gives my wife the ability to rest into the feminine that she is, and she gets to be who she's supposed to be. If I don't do that and I just like don't man up, if we want to call it that, if I don't do that, she then, because I'm abdicating it, she has to do the masculine things, which makes her more irritable, makes her more anxious because it's not what she's made for. And again, that whole idea, that concept of she and I are equals, but we have separate roles. But if I don't do mine, then she has to step into the role that is that my role, which is stepping out of her own role. And then she becomes all of those things. And I think to myself, food could very well could be doing that. Oh, dude, and I already said it. If there's a chip in my brain, what could the government do to me? I'm thinking to myself, well, if they've got their hands on the food, what could they be doing to me? And what better way to jack with everyone than to mess with the men, force the women into that role, and screw it all up? Yeah, totally. Makes
Yeah,
total me.
it's physical in that okay, nutrition leads to physical degeneration, and
Yeah.
then hormonal generation, and then role change. And
Mhm.
then we also introduce the social part of it. Like,
Yeah.
okay, if I stop stepping up in the relationship, well, then my wife is in a position where she either needs to or everything falls apart.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
this is most relationships nowadays where mama's doing the job of everybody
Mhm.
and stepping up and leading the family as the man is supposed to, as dad is like docile and like, oh, happy wife, happy life, whatever you want, honey. Where do we want to go for dinner? Well, what do you want?
Yeah.
And then anxiously chasing her, trying to like please her and like, oh, well, what can I do? What can I do right now? How can I help you? Yeah.
Dude, it's total crap. That's total crap because I've been talking with Zeke a lot about this, and I'm like, listen, it's not that nice guys finish last and that girls want bad boys. I'm like, that's what we see because the bad boy is the guy that's like, I don't care what you want. I'm gonna do this. So you can just get on board or get out of here and I'll find somebody else. That's the bad boy attitude that seems to always draw the girl in. And then the nice guy's like, well, let me, what do you want? How do I like? And they're like, I don't get it. Why don't I get girls? Well, you finish last because they don't want that. They don't really want the bad boy who's a dick. They want the guy that's got a focused like role. He's like, I'm going here. So if you're going to pull me from that, one, you're not going to pull me from that. Two, you want to come along and be part of it. I want you here. I want you with me because I like you. You like me. That makes more sense. How can you be not a bad boy, but have that same vibe? The man with a mission has the bad boy vibe, in my opinion. And so I keep telling my oldest that I'm like, you keep doing what you want to do, go where you want to go. And as you do that and become a higher caliber man, you will not only draw in women, you will draw in higher caliber women. But the thing you have to then do is go, I'm still on my mission. This is my mission. You are welcome to come, but you will not take me from it. And there's so much that I will look at and watch as like even I go back to the superior man. She will ask you to not deviate from the mission, but just take today off. It's not ever and it's not her trying to get you to not be on mission or accomplish your goal. It's just that she's like, "Well, I want you to want me. I want you to be with me." Yeah. And the bad boy thing and I say that because that's the guy who gets the girl. The guy who gets the girl that isn't a bad guy is the guy who says, but I'm supposed to do this. So I'm going to do this and then I'll come back and we'll hang out. And she's going to be mad at you in the moment, but she's going to love it all the way through. And I think that like it's crazy how that works that there's this whole we have this problem where we're like, "Oh, I just got to be the nice guy. I got to be the nice guy." And then the nice guy finishes last. And so then guys turn into like total assholes. And that's not the point. The whole point was not to do that. It was to be the man on a mission and let her be a part of that. That's what they want. At least that's what I'm noticing.
Mhm. Well, love and desire are totally different things.
Mhm.
And what I think that we're really getting at here is that desire is awakened by a man who has an edge.
Mhm.
He's sharp. He has fire and drive towards a higher purpose. Like he has a mission in his life that matters to him so much that nothing's going to stop him.
Mhm.
And then he also has this woman. Like our kids are the greatest purpose that we can have in life. And we have to have something bigger than that as men. We
Yeah.
have to have something beyond that. Otherwise, we lose our edge.
Right.
We become soft. We become docile. We become like, well, what does it matter if I just sit on the couch here? And that is when desire starts to fall apart
Yeah.
because she wants a guy who shows initiative.
Yeah.
There's
Absolutely.
something that matters to him.
Yeah.
And he's not going to abdicate his mission just because, well, like, I love you. Right?
Yeah. It comes back. It's like that strength that, yeah, it's totally. And I heard this woman say this and I had never thought of it before. And even my wife bristles at this concept of submission, like the wife should submit. And and so I don't see it as this old school church where like submit, woman, you're supposed to just do what I want.
Submit to me.
That's right. It's like you're mine. You do what I say. It's not like that. She was like, no, it's sub, which means under mission, under the mission. She comes in under the mission to support the mission. And I was like, holy shit, that's amazing. Yes. And my wife was like, that makes sense. She's like, that's it. She's like, I want you to do the thing. And she's like, and then I support that. And home is she's like, home is mine. You come home to me, and this is the place where I take care of things. And then you take care of all the things in the house by taking care of me. And I'm like, yes, I'm in for that. Like, that gets me hyped, when I think about that. It's crazy. Oh, dude, I can't get over the cottagers.
She doesn't want to be the one who's on a mission nor planning the mission. She wants, or not adventure. She doesn't want to be the one who's on an adventure on her own or planning our adventures. She wants to be taken on your grand adventure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the thing about a woman, when we find that one and we're able to lead, she amplifies everything that you do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nutrition, man. Maybe it's the nutrition. Maybe that's part of it.
Oh.
Okay. So what we saw is the masculine role collapsed.
Yeah.
The female cats slid into that role. They literally switched places.
Mm-hmm.
The male cats became really feminine. The female cats became really masculine. Pottinger didn't study pornography or SSRIs or TikTok, but he mapped a biological pattern here underneath all of this stuff. So what he saw in males, the male cats, anxious, irritable, aggressive at the beginning, low libido. They didn't want to get it on anymore. They failed in mating. They couldn't even mount the female cats anymore. They actually started to mount each other, the male cats, more than the female cats. Not saying anything, but maybe I am. They had really feminized traits. And they would either withdraw completely or they'd go into like fits of rage. Now, what do we see? What do we see in men nowadays? We see dopamine addiction. We're addicted to impulses and desires.
Yep.
And also dopamine burnout, which tends to manifest as depression.
Yep.
Porn-induced dopamine burnout is what we're seeing in our boys, our teenagers nowadays. We're seeing low testosterone. In the past 50 years, so Shauna Swan, and I want to have her on the show. In 2017, she came out with the research. Average male level of testosterone has dropped 1% a year over the past 50 years. So we have 50% lower testosterone than our grandfathers did. But she also came out in 2019 with a new statistic, 2.7% every year over the last 50 years. That's massive.
What?
That's huge. And with that, testosterone has dropped that much, and erectile dysfunction has increased that much.
Mm-hmm.
Inability to conceive has matched that in women, in addition to miscarriages. This is Dr. Shauna Swan studying people, studying human beings. That's really interesting. Match that low testosterone with high cortisol levels, excessively high cortisol levels.
Yeah.
People stressed out all the time. Cats, same thing. When you look at gorillas, people bring up gorillas all the time as like an evidence of patriarchy. Actually, the alpha gorilla tends to be the most easy to get along with. In the is it a troop of gorillas in the pack of gorillas? Not gorillas. I'm not talking about gorillas. I'm talking about chimpanzees. That's what I meant. Okay, we're talking about chimps. So he tends to be the most sociable. He creates the best alliances and friendships. It's the ones underneath him that are fighting, that have the highest cortisol levels, and tend to be the most destructive and abusive. We're also seeing he's getting it, right?
Of course, he's like, yeah, well,
So I talked about Dr. Shauna Swan's work, 50% decrease in testosterone, matching increase in erectile dysfunction. This isn't just like grown men. This is our 18-year-olds that are struggling with this now, too. We are seeing, and tell me if you've seen this on Instagram, increasing troll behavior and aggression on the internet.
Yeah.
But then when it comes down to it, being really passive in real life, it's real easy to get angry at people and to call people all kinds of terrible names on the internet and troll my posts and troll Nate's posts.
Dude, and I was just thinking that same thing. I've had guys that have said stuff and I've been like, there's no way you would say, I mean, I've actually messaged back, there's no way you would say that to my face in an actual conversation. Like, you would never do that. I mean, at least on the male side, we all know you mouth off to the wrong guy, you're gonna get your face popped, right? Like, we know that, and we kinda, like we at least grew up with that. I mean, if you're a kid of the '80s and '90s, that's how it went, you know? And so, maybe it doesn't happen as much anymore, but, like, I just think about that, and I've literally been like, "Bro, you would never say that to" 1, you would probably never say that to another human if you were in the same room, but I can guarantee you, you wouldn't say that to me if you were in the same room as me. That's insane, and
Mhm.
it's so and, 1, I don't care. Like, I mean, I tell Meg all the time, I'm like, "Dude, if people are hating and saying like, total crap, then I'm probably going the right direction, so I'm gonna keep going that direction, and maybe I'll just push a little bit on it, that's fine." But it's it's almost out of control. I mean, pick any big thing where you see, like, hundreds of thousands of views or millions of views and scroll down 5 comments, and then just click the replies to that comment. You are definitely getting to the underling chimps at that point. You know what I mean? Like, those are the guys that are in there like, and just
Yeah.
like, dude.
Low testosterone, high cortisol,
Yeah,
and they're having their flame wars in there. But
yeah.
he saw this in the cats, so they would withdraw, the male cats especially. Well, what is withdrawing now? That's let me go into my phone and like look at my phone and escape this.
Mhm.
Let me withdraw into video games. Let me withdraw into pornography instead of pursuing real life connection. Instead of pursuing real life, I'm gonna go learn how to play football instead of play Madden. I don't even know if that exists anymore. I'm
Yeah.
gonna go make love to my wife or my girlfriend or make myself worthy of female attention. Instead of that, I'm gonna go look at porn.
Dude, that's it goes back to, like, having a wife that in my head here, I'm going, it goes back to having a wife that wants to be on mission and wants to be feminine. I feel like guys need to know this. If you're masculine enough to have a really feminine wife, um, she's strong. That's the thing, like, feminine doesn't mean weak. My wife is very feminine and very strong, and I love that because she's like, "What's your problem? Why aren't you going and doing what you're supposed to do? Like, why are you sitting here talking to me about it? Why don't you just shut up and then, like, do it?" She would never say shut up, but she would definitely say, like, "Why don't you stop talking and get after the stuff you're saying you want?" And I love that because it forces me, like, she's gonna push me. She's not being a jerk, she's not being a nag, she's none of those things. She is literally in her feminine going, "Well, then go do that. I want that too. Go get that for us. I'll handle here." And I think that's massive, and a lot of guys take that personally, or would take that personally and be like, "Oh, like, she's mad at me, and she, like" and then they do that whole withdrawal thing, and honestly, I think that when you have a strong woman, yeah, you know what? Porn is easy. So, yeah, you're picking the easy way out. Just like not working out is easy and not eating the right foods is easy. You're picking the easy way. You get to have the you get to have the climax and the finish without all the work. Like, of course, yeah, every porn chick wants it exactly the way whatever they're doing, like, that's how it works. "Oh, man, she just wants it all the time." And then guys go, "Well, why doesn't my wife want it?" Well, you literally don't do anything that make her want that. So or want you. So maybe go do some stuff, work hard, and be the guy that deserves to have a woman that wants it. I think that's the number one thing I've heard from guys is that they wish their woman would initiate more. And I'm kinda like, "Y you probably watch too much porn." Not that like, not that your wife doesn't wanna initiate or whatever, but I'm like, she responds, she receives, she comes like, you start that, and then she comes back at it, and if she's not wanting that, then maybe question what you're doing. Like, what are you not doing that's creating a space where she can't be who she's supposed to be? That's where it's at, you know? Stop withdrawing and going for the easy route.
Yeah, as I have stepped up more in life, as I took a stand and I started putting this stuff on, like, I started wearing my For His Glory shirts. I started to change my wardrobe so that I looked a little bit more professional. I started to actually like take initiative and do real life things and do analog things. And I was like, I'm gonna learn how to play guitar again.
Oh, I dig
My wife started to look at me and be like giving me those eyes. And I'm like,
it.
let's see.
Hungry
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah, she started giving me the hungry eyes. But that's the thing is we need to do the analog work on ourselves and then do things that aren't her, and we want to do her, but we have to do things that we're also driven to do beyond that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what she's attracted to.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
a true feminine woman is strong, but she will submit, and that she will be in alignment with that vision with you, underneath you, who is executing the adventure and
Right.
executing the mission, supporting that. And my wife has always called me out on shit. And before I learned how to regulate and be confident and firm within myself and how to lead, I used to take that personally.
Mm.
I used to react and then, like you said, withdraw, which is the same thing that they saw in the cats. The
Yeah.
same thing that Francis Pottinger saw in the cats.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And so now we see men's nervous systems. We can't tolerate that tension. Maybe we're just talking about like a marriage relationship right now, but maybe it's the flame wars on Instagram. The delayed gratification, we can't tolerate that. We struggle to tolerate the effort that needs to go into whatever it is that we want to create in our life, if it's getting fit or improving our marriage or making money or whatever, learning how to play guitar. And then we struggle with rejection.
Yeah.
When that happens, men are reaching for instant relief instead of an earned reward. That is biological feminization, the same thing that he saw in the cats. It's not a moral failing within you.
Yeah.
It's not your fault, but now it's your responsibility.
There it is. Yeah. Yeah. And even if it's coming from the food, even if it's that. And my thing is this, like when I was looking at that, I thought, I don't really want to eat raw meat or organs. Like some guys do, go for it. That's all. I mean, do you, man? But I'm not in for that. I really like my steak about a medium rare, but I still like it warm, you know? I'm all for like raw milk. This whole pasteurization
I love
crap
it.
is so ridiculous. Raw milk is like, it's so velvety and amazing. Anyways, but so I was thinking about that and I'm like, I don't really like, but it's what cats are supposed to eat. Like, so they're supposed to eat that. So when we think about what we're supposed to eat, we're definitely not supposed to be eating this highly processed seed oil insanity. I mean, seed oil is basically like some kind of lubricant, residual lubricant crap from gears and stuff. Like, what are we doing to ourselves? It makes total sense that that all this stuff could be coming from food, considering the kind of crap that we're putting in our bodies on a normal basis in the Western culture. I just and once you start there, then you feel better, and then like you're gonna find that you want to like do more stuff. I think you're gonna be like, oh, I want to do more stuff. I've got more energy. I want to do more things. I think that it doesn't stop. It starts a domino effect of I'm feeling better, so I want this. And dude, when you start getting and I always come back to the gym, and people sometimes don't like that, but I'm like, if you get in the gym and you start working, you start eating right, and you get your body to a level where you feel good. One, when you feel good, you're probably gonna emulate out that energy. So people are going to notice that you feel good. You're going to find that you have more confidence. You probably, when you look good, you feel good. You're going to like see yourself in the mirror, be like, I look at, you're going to have confidence. Those are things that start stacking on top of each other to take you back to the masculine that you're supposed to be, to start walking, because that confidence starts to build. And now when you're like, I have this vision for something I want to accomplish. Well, I've already done these things over here. So why couldn't I do that? I'll just do the same kind of work. I'll just put the work in and I'll get it. And you've already built confidence and all that stuff. And then next thing you know, like you said, your wife looks at you with the hungry eyes and you're like, yes, let's do this. Makes total sense.
Final piece here.
Yeah.
In the female cats and females nowadays and women who make up 3/4 of people who are in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
We see now chronic anxiety. We see like huge use of SSRIs in women as a baseline coping way to cope with that. We see hypervigilance in the nervous systems. A lot of women are on edge. Loss of libido. A lot of guys are like, my wife doesn't want me. Well, 1, are you desirable? 2, are you leading? And 3, well, maybe there is something that's happening deeper inside of her. And if she's chronically anxious and highly stressed, well, of course that's not going to happen. Your body and her body, if you're in a stressful situation 10,000 years ago, is not going to be like, you know what would be really good right now? If we had a baby to tote around with us for the next 18 years. No, it's going to shut it down.
Yeah.
And then in that hypervigilance, difficulties trusting men, we see the whole feminist movement. 50% of people, I would just guess, in the United States, females in the United States feel that way. So yeah, I think to wrap this up, I think that we have to pay attention to this. There's a lot of different things that we're talking about. We're talking about social media usage. We talk about video games. We talk about pornography. We talk about phones. We talk about all of this. But if we can look at the actual food, at the actual inputs, which is then going to dictate our hormonal profile and the stimulation in our nervous system, if we can work on that, well, we might just be able to not just avoid this fate for ourselves, because they started to see this thing happen in the first generation, and then it got passed to the second and the third, and for them, they couldn't do anything about it.
Right.
And then they lost the ability to procreate. If we can take charge of this and we can clean ourselves up, well, then our kids are going to have a better chance. And I think the most important thing about this is that our kids are going to inherit an average of 80% of our lifestyle. The things that we do, the things that we eat, our predisposition for exercise or avoidance of it, the way we relate with our wife, the way that we repair, our emotional self-regulation, how we handle stress. Our kids are going to pick up 80% of those things on average.
Yeah.
And so entering, this is January 5th that we're recording this. We're going to post it in a couple of weeks. Entering a New Year's resolution season, I don't think that there's anything more important that you need to focus on than, well, let me get myself right and lead by example here.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if we can do that, well, then we give our kids a way better shot in the future, because they're faced with a future that I cannot imagine, not just from like a food standpoint, but from the access to nonstop stimulation and pleasures and all of this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So then the question is, is this what we're seeing happen in society right now? I don't know.
Yeah. I think it is. I mean, honestly, it's like there's such a correlation there that it is. And so the only way out, I mean, I know I say the only way out is through, but that is it. It is literally deciding to have the discipline to not fall in, like to see what's going on and then not fall into, oh, I'll just give into it. I'm gonna change the way I eat. I'm gonna focus on what I input. Like you said it. What are my inputs? If my results are over here, then obviously I have to see what my inputs are to change those and then shift inputs so that I get good results. And it's got to be the way it is.
Yeah, the final thing that I had that I wanted to bring up here is that comparing the third, fourth generation cats and kittens to the modern kids, it matches with what we see in a lot of kids nowadays with their inability to regulate. They explode in these tantrums. A lot of kids are having anxiety at really young ages nowadays. Our boys are overdiagnosed with ADHD, hyperactivity. Some of them really have those kind of issues, but some of them are just given that diagnosis because it's easy. They get overwhelmed from a sensory standpoint easily. They have a hard time recovering emotionally, and they have like no tolerance for boredom or frustration. And this is the same thing that he was seeing in the cats, the inability to self-regulate, the high anxiety, the reactivity that would result in physical violence and then total withdrawal. It's crazy, man.
That's nuts.
Yeah, so I think, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I see it with my kids. Like they'll be like, I'm bored. And usually my response is, good, create something. I'm like, I'm glad you're bored. Go, like, let's find something to build. Like there's plenty of stuff to build out here. Like you can, blocks or whatever, or you go draw something. Dude, when Wyatt's bored and he's like, I'm bored, I'm like, go draw something. This kid will come up with stuff. I mean, he's so good at it. I'm like, you should do this all the time. You should be bored all the time. Look at what you make. So they don't like
boredom is the best.
Around. I'm like, good. I'm glad you're bored.
I took Theo to get my beard and my hair trimmed up to the barber the other day, and we talked about it. I don't have a phone for him, and I have an iPad. He has a dry erase board. That's his pad. And like he literally just stood next to me for an hour. He was like, Dad, when can we go home? I was like, soon. And I was like, draw on your board. He's like, no, I'll just hang out here. And he's just like, we just talked. This 5-year-old for an hour. And there's other guys with their kids in there. They got iPads, they got phones, they got all this stuff. Like they're not together. I'll always remember him hanging out and like us talking about random stuff together.
Mhm.
And I'm sure that the guy that cut my hair, Anthony, will also remember that my son just like stood there with me instead of being absorbed in an iPad. And they talked a little bit too.
Yeah. Well, that's good. He's interacting with other adults. Like he's like, I think that's the hard, and this is a whole other podcast, but the idea of the concept of school where it's like everyone is your age. That's the only time you have that is when you're in school. So it's good. Like I love it when my kids are interacting with people that are their school does this. They like interact them with. There's college students that come in from the institute that's there. There's high schoolers that'll interact with them. I love that because they're interacting on different levels. So your son's getting so much better, such a better education on how to interact with people. And again, the whole video game thing is they can interact here, but then you're like, hey, I need you to go knock on that door. Let them know we're here because we're gonna go do something. And they're just like, no, I can't do that. I can't talk to a stranger. It's like, yes, you can go talk to them. And I'm talking about a teenage kid. You know, Zeke is better at it now, but that's what he was. I'd be like, I made him do it. I'd be like, hey, I'm getting on the roof, but I don't want to get shot. So tell them, I'm in Tennessee. That could happen. So it's like, I'm getting on the roof, knock on the door, let them know we're here, so I don't get shot at. And he's like, Dad, I want to talk to him. Well,
See, people talk about that with homeschool kids all the time. Is that wow? I was amazed that they were like able to like have a conversation with me and look me in the eyes.
Yeah. Yep. That's all I want. That's what I want for my kids.
Yeah. So what do we do? I think Pottinger's Cats. I think it is non-negotiable for us to do the things that we used to consider a luxury.
Mhm.
Taking care of your body. If you don't have a physical labor job, that means that you need to be working out.
Mhm.
If you do have a physical labor job, you need to be doing things to take care of that. Maybe that's yoga or something like that, flexibility work to help counteract any issues that you're going to have with your hands, because the guys that I work with in the trades always end up having hand problems and arthritis. I think that you absolutely have to, this is non-negotiable, be doing meditation, because meditation is literally detoxification for the brain, for stress, for cortisol. We can't change that we're probably the third generation of cats right now, because it's the boomers and their parents that really started the processed foods things post World War II. We can't change that. We are stuck with this nervous system, but we can do work to influence it.
Yeah.
It's non-negotiable for us to do the meditation and the breath work to self-regulate and get control of our nervous system, so we're not in that sympathetic dominance all the time. We can get our brain power back. We can get our energy back. We can get our agency, our power, our control back. And we can actually be here with the people that are important to us and craft the relationships that we want. And not only that, pass those habits down to our kids.
Yeah. That's huge.
All of it.
Massive. That's where it's needed.
Done with Pottinger's Cats. Do you feel complete with that?
Yeah, complete, brother. That was good. So good.
You got like 10 minutes to do some reels?
Yeah, man. I'm
Let's
in
do
for
it.
that.
All right. Let's look at. So these are some that have come up for me, and they're gonna be a surprise for you, Nate, lately. And we'll just go with one that's on this theme first.
Will they end up seeing this on the live?
Yes. Well, on the live they won't, which is the downside of being in the live. But that's why you guys need to come listen to the podcast.
Truth.
Yeah. All right. Can we see it? Can we see it? Can we see
yes.
Mike Hearn? Here we go. Here we go. Ready? Can you hear it?
I can't hear it, but I can read it.
Yeah. Yeah, man.
Oh my gosh, that's so good. That's so funny, but
I
totally
I
true.
I see this all the time with people like, "Well, what do your kids want to eat?" Even in our family, like, "Okay, well, what should I make for your kids?" I'm like, "No, they eat the same thing as us."
Right, exactly. They should eat what we're eating. Yeah, I don't get it. Like, have we missed the fact that your food becomes you? Like whatever you're putting in becomes like your cells. So you're just dumping crap in there. And why are we doing that to our kids? You know what? You're having a kid, your kids are probably having more tantrums because they can't handle whatever's going on because you're feeding them crap. So they're becoming crap. They just feel like crap, you know? I mean, if you go eat, I mean, there's nothing wrong with eating a burger, but if you go eat a big heavy burger and fries, it's not like you wanna go do anything after that. It's not like I feel like I wanna go to the gym or go for a run. I don't feel like running ever, but you know what I mean. It's like that kinda stuff. Your kid's not gonna feel it's gonna feel the same exact way. It's like, "Ugh," it's like gross. So why put them to that? Or like the cereal thing, that's the number one. It's like,
Mm.
give them a bunch of cereal, give them a bunch of sugar. Like, no, you can't have candy for breakfast, but I'm gonna give you pancakes and syrup or Fruit Loops. I mean, you might just give them candy at that point, right? That's what you're giving them. So, not that I don't have pancakes every once in a while, you know what I mean? Like we'll
I
do
do
that
love
on the
some good
weekend,
pancakes.
but it, that's hilarious. I love what he said. He's like, "You're retarded." That's awesome.
That's retarded, which
Yeah,
is a aeronautic term for slowing down, to retard.
exactly.
You're slow.
Exactly.
That's it. Yeah, it's and I don't wanna guilt anybody who's, like, really trying their best, and you gotta blast through and get them out of the house in the morning, but
Yeah,
start
totally.
looking for other alternatives. Looking at Pottinger's cats, like, you're setting them up for all kinds of physical problems in the future, and also all these mental and emotional problems that we talked about. It's probably linked to the food.
Totally. Yeah. Bro, dude, and here's the thing. I think a lot of our life is so fast, and we're really trying to like food has become needed to be convenient. Dude, man, we will cook here. We cook almost every meal here. It is so annoying because like we cook and then we clean up. And the next thing we know, we're cooking to clean up, and then we're cooking to clean up dinner. And I'm like, this, and I literally at least once a week will look at my wife and be like, this is why people don't do this because we have to do this.
Mhm.
Not that like 5 simple meals for in 15 minutes. Yeah, but they don't tell you how long it's gonna take you to clean up everything after 7 people eat at your table, you know what I mean? It's like now we're crazy because we have, like, 80 bajillion kids, but at the same time, it's still, like, that's why people don't do it because it's and when we did club soccer, shoot me in my face. I hated it the whole time. I was like the grumpy dad. Like it's so bad. I was the grumpy dad because I was like, I'd pick him up from school. We got to either have food there or whatever. And or if you do what most people are doing, you're picking up Chick-fil-A on the way there, and then you're grabbing something on the way home because they needed a snack because that's already turned to whatever seed oil it is. Like you just have this cycle of gaining weight and eating like crap because you're never at home. And I complained the whole time. Like,
Mm.
I hated it. I hated it. But at the same time, I'm like, well, I do want them to play soccer and I do want them to have a good time and I want them to be with their friends, but at what cost? And it was at the cost of us eating food around the table, being a family, talking, seeing each other's faces. The only way I was seeing their face was like in the rear view mirror.
Mm.
It's stuff like that where it's like we're trying to eat for convenience and speed as opposed to making it an event and being calm and enjoying time together. And I absolutely hate that about our culture. It's like we're always banging against that because my soul longs for the old way of eating around the table and being calm and hanging out. But we also want them to have the opportunity to play soccer and all the things. And I'm like, which one is better for our family, you know?
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, the dinner table should be the event,
Yeah,
and that's
agree.
where the most important bonding that you're gonna have is gonna happen, and also the most important learning. Like, if you have real discussions
Yeah.
about real things, And
Yeah.
you as dad is like, nah, I think you're wrong on that. Let's debate this though.
Yeah,
Like that's where they're actually going to learn. And
absolutely.
then also not be upset when someone has a different viewpoint from them.
Sure. Yeah. The older they get, the more you get that. And honestly, I've loved that because that is exactly what happens. Somebody brings up something and we start talking. I mean, we play games where we just like somebody thinks of an animal and then we all have to like ask questions. It's just like 20 questions. But we do that, or we'll like, what was the best part of your day and the worst part of your day and something that surprised you? I think what I'd like to really implement, and I forget who did this, but it's like, how did you fail? I really want to make failure this year. I really want to make failure like a big thing, like not a bad thing, but a great thing. Like, oh, you failed. That's awesome. I'm so glad. What did you learn from that? Like, really push on that. But those are the things that we get to have in our conversations around the table. And they just come up naturally because somebody says something about what happened during the day. Like, and we just go from there. And I think it's plus you're sitting there with us. I've got 21 all the way down to one. So we've got, you're not sitting there with one like all the same age where you're all doing the same thing. We have multiple levels of people all over everywhere, like age groups, so that it's all from all over it. Like the ideas are coming from everywhere, even if they're like the 4-year old just popping in something weird, it doesn't matter.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like we covered some good stuff today, man.
I do too, man. This is always fun. I mean, you are my best friend, so it's this is always like it's always a good time to hang out with you.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys know, but Nate's my best friend. So,
Yeah, it's
so
like we're buddies,
yep.
and that
And we're
is
not just
true. Like
buddies.
when people,
That's my best friend there. So
yeah,
I'll drive down in Tennessee. It's not that far, but I drive.
I mean, it's not, and you should come now because it's probably warmer here than it is there. But
All right, brother. Well, let's wrap this thing up.
yeah,
Thanks
man,
for being here with me. Thanks for
absolutely,
co-hosting and being my color commentary.
always.
Yeah. And everybody else, thank you so much for being here, guys in the stream, guys in the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this in any way, please share it with a friend, somebody who would really enjoy it, or somebody that would absolutely hate it, but that would thank you for it later. Please share it with them as well. And that's what I got for you. Thanks for being here today. And have an uncommon day.